Very good afternoon, everyone. How are you all? Taken lunch? Full, half? Half or full? Full? Half, half? Chalo. So we'll start now. India's 115. Revenue from contract with customer. Correct? So revenue means revenue recognition. Correct? Can I say one of the important item of SOPN? Revenue. SOP will start with what? Revenue. Revenue from operations. Correct? So what is the meaning of revenue? Revenue means any income arising from ordinary activities of entity. Means revenue is income arising in the course of ordinary activities of the entity. Correct? Means one thing is clear that all incomes are not a revenue. Correct. So one thing is clear that all incomes are not revenue. So what is the meaning of income? Income means any increase in economic benefit during a particular accounting period, increase in economic benefit in the form of inflow, either in the form of inflow or enhancement of asset, means increase in asset or decrease in liability that result in increase in equity, which will increase equity other than those relating to contribution from equity participants. Means any contribution from equity holder will also increase cash, but that is not income. Apart from that, every inflow will be what? Income if it result in what? Increase in economic benefit. So what is the meaning of income? Income is increase in economic benefit during the accounting period, either in the form of inflow or in the form of enhancement of asset or in the form of decrease in liability that result in increase in equity other than those relating to what? Contribution from equity participants. Correct? Understood? So those income which are from ordinary course of activities, that will be revenue. Correct? So what is the revenue recognition model? So they have given 5-step model. So entire revenue recognition depends upon how many steps? 5 steps. First, identify contract with customer. So first we need to identify contract with customer. Then we need to identify performance obligation in the contract. Performance obligation in the contract. Then we find the transaction price. Transaction price. Then allocation of transaction price to the performance obligation in the contract. Last, recognize revenue when or as an entity satisfy performance obligation. Recognize revenue as and when entity satisfy the performance obligation. This is a 5-step model. Correct? First is what? Identify contract with customer. So once I have done one contract, so I will identify the contract and I will identify the customer, means my student. Correct? So of course there is some contract you have you have received some receipt also, I think so. Any no receipt? Choro, theek hai, okay. No. So that is oral contract. Correct. Now contract can be oral also. It can be express also. It can be implied also. Correct. So we have done some oral contract. But contract is there. Therefore, I am performing now. Otherwise, I will not perform. There is no contract. I have some performance obligation towards you. Correct? So first, we'll identify the contract with customer. Means we need to understand who are customer. We need to understand who are customer. Once contract is identified, then we'll identify in that contract what is the performance obligation. For example, my performance obligation is to what? teach 6 days class and cover as much as I can do. Maximum 60 marks coverage has been given in the contract. So maximum 60 marks coverage I should give, bolo yes or no. That is performance obligation. If I am not giving 60 mark coverage, so it means I am not performing. I am not performing. Then we'll determine the transaction price. So transaction price will be mentioned in the contract, either it will be oral or written, correct? That you are paid in advance only, correct? Even though I have not performed, we have received the transaction price. In our case, we are Jindabad, correct? Understood? Then allocation. Suppose it might happen in one contract, there are multiple performance obligations. For example, we have done one contract that I will teach FR, then I will teach GFRS, then I will conduct test also. Then I will conduct test also. So that is means I have three performance obligations. First teach FR, then once FR completed, then I will teach GFRS, then that completed, then I will perform some test also. So it means there are three performance obligations. So transaction price might be one. So that transaction price will be allocated to three performance obligation. So we need to understand on what basis we need to allocate what transaction price. There will be some method of allocation that we need to understand. Then once you have allocated transaction price, so FR is a different performance obligation, GFRS is different performance obligation, and conduct of test is different performance obligation. So revenue of each performance obligation will be satisfied at different point of time. So once it is satisfied, we recognize revenue. So we need to understand when they are satisfied. When they are satisfied. So some performance obligation is satisfied over the period of time. Some performance obligation is satisfied at a particular point of time. For example, test. The test will be performed in one day only. Correct? But FR, in my case, it is a 70 days base. So 70 days means over the period of time, over the period of time. So we need to understand which performance obligation is satisfied over the period of time, which performance obligation is satisfied at a particular point of time. So on that basis, we need to recognize the revenue. So what will be the basis of revenue recognition? That we need to understand step number 5. So step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you repeat with me? First step is what? Identify contract with customer. Second is what? Identify performance obligation in the contract. Third is what? Determine transaction price. Correct. Then allocate transaction price to the performance obligation in the contract. Then last, recognize revenue as and when performance obligation is satisfied. Correct. One by one we'll do first step number 1, then step number 2, then step number 3, then step number 4, then step number 5, then chapter will be closed. Then after that also there are some additional point that we need to understand. Means this Ind AS 115, it looks simple but actually it is not simple. Why? Because it is very vast. Means if I compare with AS9 and AS7 you have done in your bachpan, that was what? AS9 says what? Risk and reward transfer, revenue recognized. Khatam. For service they have said, service performed, recognized revenue. Means only that much we have done, maja aaya tha, yaad karo. For AS7 they have given percentage of completion method, 2 question you have done, AS7 over. AS7 over, correct now? Means that was nothing, means more guidance was not given there. Means in different circumstances, what will be the revenue recognition criteria, that was not explained here. Similarly, before Ind AS 115, there was Ind AS 18 and Ind AS 11. Ind AS 18 and Ind AS 11 was nothing but AS9 and AS7 similar to that, which thoda sa advanced. So that was also not detailed. So now one standard for all revenue recognition. Means from wherever you generate revenue, only one Ind AS will be applied for all types of what? Revenue recognition. Correct? Understood? So very important, I will say practically so very important. Examination point is important because one question mandatory from this Ind AS 115. One question either of 6 marks or 2 question of 6 plus 4 marks they may ask. Agreeing? Means marks will vary from 6 to 10. 6 to 10 will be weightage of this chapter. So examination point will be also important. But why it is difficult? Because very vast, and institute has given, I will say, 55 illustration on this, and then additional 10 12 questions. So they have given illustration from all points. All points. It means we need to study in detail. Correct. So what is the meaning of customer? First, what is the meaning of customer? The customer is a party. Customer is a party that has contracted with the entity, to obtain goods or services, which goods or services, which are the output of entities ordinary activities, in exchange for consideration, means suppose right now I have done one contract to sell my mobile to you, and suppose contract is effective, you have given cash, I have given the mobile also. Whether you are customer, why? Because this is not my output from ordinary activities, so you are not customer. So they have defined customer also, ki customer what, which has contracted with an entity to obtain goods and services that are output of the entity's ordinary activities in exchange for consideration. Means consideration should be also involved. Correct? Understood? Now, meaning of contract. What is the meaning of contract? Contract means as per Contract Act. So, an agreement between two or more party that create enforceable rights and obligation. So that you know, nothing to stress on that. Correct? Enforceable means what? Which can be enforced in the eyes of law. ठीक है? So it is a matter of law, so that you know that you have done in Contract Act. ठीक है ना? Now they have said which create enforceable rights and obligation. So whenever we create one contract, so it gives rise to right for both the party and also obligation for the both the party. For example, I have a right to receive consideration and I have an obligation to perform in the class. Correct? So I have a right as well as obligation. You have a right to receive what service from me, and obligation to pay consideration to me. So both party has right, both party has obligation. Correct? This point understood? Yes, sir. Correct? Now, criteria for recognizing a contract means what is the criteria for identifying a contract? It should be identifying a contract. Change it. Criteria for identifying a contract. So there are how many criteria? 5 criteria. If 5 criteria are satisfied, then only there is a contract. Otherwise, there is no contract. Means step number 1 will be fulfilled only then when 5 condition has been satisfied. So what is the point number 1? The parties have approved the contract. Approval must be there. Correct? And of course committed to perform their respective obligations. So whenever there is an approval, commitment will automatically come. Without approval, commitment will not come. So once approved, the commitment will automatically come. Correct? And the entity can identify each party rights regarding goods and services. So we are able to identify the rights of parties regarding what? Goods and services under that contract. Means we need to able to understand what is the nature of goods and services to be transferred. Suppose I said I will teach, give me 10,000. Whether it is a contract. What to teach? I will teach what? Sanskrit. I say we make one contract, I will teach, come join, give 10,000. What to teach? So goods and service has not been identified. So then it is not a contract. So right for the goods and services should be also identified. Yes, sir. The entity can identify the payment terms. For the goods and services. Contract done, but there was no payment terms. So it will not be a contract for Ind AS 115. For Ind AS 115, it will not be a contract. Means payment terms need to be also decided. Payment terms need to be also decided. The contract has commercial substance. The contract has commercial substance means the contract should give what? Future economic benefit to both the party. The contract must give future economic benefit to both the party. So this also you have understood. And it is probable that entity will collect substantially all the consideration to which it expect to be collected, arguing to be entitled. So it is probable that entity will collect substantially all of the consideration. Means if it is not probable, we have done one contract with what? We have done one contract with one local neta. Understood? Neta, you know. Now we don't know whether the amount will be received or not. And whether we will demand. We'll never demand also. Correct now. They might come and give me their good person, good neta is there. But can I suppose one neta is there, he came and he asked me, Sarji, my son is there, my daughter is there, please teach. I will come. Then I found that he is neta here, whether I will demand any amount. No. So there is no probability of what? Collection of amount. Correct? So it means till now it is not a contract. Means if there is a doubt about collection, so step number one, contract will not be identified. If all the conditions satisfied, then contract has been identified. Correct? Now one doubt will arise, sir, if anyone, all of the criteria not satisfied, then what will do? So accounting treatment for consideration received. Suppose consideration received, but 5 condition, any one of the condition is not satisfied, then what will do? Correct? So if contract with customer does not meet the criteria, first if the contract with customer meet the criteria, then we'll go to step number 2. We have received consideration and we have also satisfied all the criteria given in step number 1, all the criteria satisfied, then go to step number 2. But if contract with customer does not meet the criteria, then can I say consideration received will be recognized as liability until all the criteria are satisfied. Until all the criteria are satisfied. Once all the criteria are satisfied, we'll go to step number 2. We'll go to step number 2. Means we need to wait for what? All the criteria to be satisfied. Correct? Understood? Okay. But it is quite possible that we have received what consideration, but all the criteria is not satisfying. We waited for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, etc. Then what need to be done? So what they are saying, recognize consideration received as revenue if any one of the event occur. If any one of the event occur. Are you getting what I am saying? So whatever consideration received will be recognized as revenue even though criteria for contract is not satisfied. Correct? When? If the entity's performance is completed. If the entity's performance is completed and all the consideration has been collected and is non-refundable and the amount is non-refundable. Correct? Understood? Suppose before this batch, one student has paid online. Correct? 1000 rupees paid. ठीक है ना? Without any intimacy. So no contract, nothing was decided. Paid online, ki sir I am coming. Okay, well come, we'll see there. But first day gone, second gone, third, fourth, fifth, 6 days expire. Khatam. So I have performed my obligation. Now 7 days coming and saying, sir, I have given 1000, please perform. So I will do what? Dance. What I will do? And the amount is non-refundable. In our case, we refund. In our case, we refund. I to refund. But just try to understand. Normally, it is not refundable. So, can I say whatever amount I receive, that become my revenue. Even though step number 1 criteria is not satisfied. Correct? Understood? Second is what? If the contract has been terminated due to some reason. Due to some reason, either due to fault of customer or due to fault of entity, whatever. Correct? And the consideration received is non-refundable. the consideration received is not refundable, then whatever consideration received will be recognized as a revenue. So this is important from exam point of view. Question can be asked from this. Understood? Correct. This also you have understood. Okay? I'm just going in a summary way so that there are some point which you can understand by your own that I am not touching. So you need to read by your own the balance part. Tina means I'm just catching that point from which directly a question is going to be asked. Okay? Then combining contract. Now there are sometimes what happens, there are two or more than two contract with same customer. With same customer. The question is combine that two contract and apply Ind AS 115 together on that. Are you getting what I am saying? Two or more contract, can it be combined and Ind AS 115 can be applied in a total contract? This is that. Well, yes, it can be combined. So two or more contract should be accounted as a single contract if they are entered into at or near the same time. At or near the same time. At or near the same time. Near means what? Near. Near means near. Not defined how much near. अब near बोला. Near means 1 hour is near. कि 1 day is near. कि 15 days is near. That has not been defined. So it requires judgment. It requires judgment. Correct? It requires judgment. Whenever I say judgment means you become CA, apply your own judgment. Apply your own judgment. When you become CA, then you will apply judgment. So for exam point of view, that type of question is never asked. Correct? Understood? ठीक है. With the same customer, if one of the following condition exists, if one of the following, any one of the following condition exists, so we can combine. Correct? So what? Contract are negotiated as a package, as a single package with single commercial objective. With a single commercial objective. Correct? The contract are negotiated as a package with a single commercial objective. With a single commercial objective. I'll just give my example. अभी धीरे दिमाग में आया. Suppose कि I said कि I will teach 6 days only in days. Only in days. You pay me 1,000 rupees. This contract. This was the contract. बोलना रे. Then you started talking, sir, we want consolidation, etc., etc., etc. That contract done, huh? That contract done. So I say, okay, 500 more give. Are you getting what I'm saying? I have not said like this, but I can say na. अरे बोलना रे, I can say or not? Of course, बनता तो है. If I am teaching more, I will charge more. अरे बोलना. I will not charge. Don't worry. Don't worry. I will not say, Baba. But if I am saying and you agreed, so can you see there are two contracts with single objective, single commercial objective. So of course it can be what? Combined. Understood? कितना जबरदस्त example दिया. Have you understood? बोलना ही ऐसा. Correct or not? Have you understood? But I am not demanding. Don't worry. ठीक है? The contract are negotiated as a package with a single commercial objective. So it is quite possible this type of transaction are available in the market. So you become CA, this type of situation will come in front of you. So you should be able to decide this point. Correct? Second, the amount of consideration paid in one contract depends on the price or performance in other contract. Correct? Depends on the price and performance in other contract. For example, I have received a contract for construction of building. For construction of building, it was 3 floor will be constructed. 3-4 floor will be constructed and price decided. Now the customer says ki sir 3-4 okay, then one more floor after some time. So can the price of 4th floor will depend upon the previous price? Correct now? There will be some linkage and negotiation will be based on that. It means it can be combined. So 3 plus 1, there are 2 contract, but it can be combined and a single contract can be accounted as per Ind AS 115. Understood? Then goods or services promised in the contract, goods or services promised in the contract are a single performance obligation. are single performance obligation. So whatever goods and services need to be delivered are single performance obligation, correct? Understood? So there might be two contract for similar goods and services. So that can be also combined if that is only one performance obligation. One performance obligation I can say in this way. Ki suppose building example is this. Ki first was building will be constructed. ठीक है ना? And in that contract we have decided without lift. Without lift. Then after 2 days customer came with lift. So one performance obligation na building with lift or without lift. One performance obligation, two performance obligation. One performance we need to construct building only. That can be with lift, that can be without lift. So you can't say that lift constructing lift in the building is some different performance obligation. That is same performance obligation only. Therefore we can combine. Therefore we can should combining contract. Yes sir. Then modification. This is important from exam point of view. Contract modification. Contract modification. It might happen कि after some time whatever initial contract, the terms can be modified. So if terms will be modified, doubt is that whether it will be same contract or whether it will be new contract or whether we will do some adjustment in that. Correct? Understood? So that has been explained here. The contract modification exists if the three conditions are met. There is change in the scope, price, or both in the contract. Change in the scope of the contract. Correct. That changes is approved by both the entity and the customer. It has been approved also. Modification has been approved and the changes are enforceable in the eyes of law. Correct. If these three conditions satisfied, then we'll do modification. But what? So I have given in a chart way so that you can understand. Just concentrate. First question will ask, is the contract modification approved? If the answer is no, then continue existing accounting treatment until modification has been approved. Means we need to follow existing accounting treatment as per the initial contract. As per the initial contract. ठीक है? If the answer is yes, यहाँ लिखो yes. Yes. Correct. Then you will ask one question. Does the modification affect transaction price? Whether it affect transaction, TP means transaction price. Transaction price. If the answer is no, correct? If the answer is no. So what question you have asked? Does the modification affect the transaction price? If the answer is no, it does not affect. Then you'll ask one more question. Does the modification add distinct goods and services? Means some more goods and services added. Does the modification added distinct goods and services? If the answer is yes, correct? So one more question you will ask. Does the consideration increase by standalone price of added goods and services? Added goods and services means there is increase in price, but only by what price? By the price of what? Added goods and services. Bola yes. Then account for modification as a separate contract. Means initial contract will be separate contract. Modification contract will be a separate. Understood? Understood this point? A simple example I will give. Ki suppose 100 goods you have initial contract that you will sell 100 units of goods at a price of rupees 100 during how many months? 6 months. During 6 months. ठीक है ना? This was the initial contract. ठीक है? Then after 2 months you have added 50 similar goods, but this will be sold at 90 rupees. 90 rupees. Correct? This will be sold at 90 rupees. Understood what I am saying? This will be sold at 90 rupees. Understood what I am saying? Correct? So can I say This is nothing but first condition. Does the modification affect the transaction price? This price is not affected. Correct? Then second question, does the modification add distinct goods and services? Yes, it added distinct goods and services. Okay. Then does the consideration increases by standalone price of that added goods and services? Yes, it is increased by standalone price of added goods and services. So therefore this contract is separate, this contract is separate. This contract will be separately accounted. This modification contract will be separately accounted. Understood this point? First point you understood? Yes, sir. Then. One second. I need to start from the beginning. Okay. Then, is the contract modification approved? Answer is yes. Then you ask the question, does the modification affect the transaction price? Your answer is what? Yes. Now your answer is yes. Understood what I am saying? Correct? Means I move from this to this now. Change the direction. Okay. So what is the first question? Does the modification affect the transaction price? Yes, it affects the transaction price. So you ask one more question. Are the remaining goods and services distinct? Are the remaining goods and services distinct? Understood? If the answer is no, if the answer is no, if the answer is no, the remaining goods and services are not distinct. Remaining goods and services are not distinct. Correct? Understood? Then what they said? Account for modification as if it were a part of existing contract. Account for modification as if it were a part of existing contract. Existing contract. Understood? Understood? That is, the adjustment to revenue is made on cumulative catch-up basis. Cumulative catch-up basis. Adjustment to revenue will be made on cumulative catch-up basis. Cumulative catch-up basis. I'm expecting a question on this only. Therefore, in my book, a question is given of this nature. 103, page number 121 come. Means in SM तो all varieties of question you have. ठीक है ना? So once you start reading, you will understand now. Once you start reading all the illustration, you will understand कि yes, sir has said that question is only given. So I'm trying to give concept much. Question I will do less. Because question, once you read, you will understand by your own solution. Page number 121 he came. What is the question? Growth Limited enter into an arrangement with customer for infrastructure outsourcing deal. Based on its experience, Growth Limited determined that customizing the infrastructure will take approximately 200 hours in total to complete the project and charge is 150 per hour. So how many hours are required? 200. And per hour cost is what? 150. Correct? Understood? After incurring 100 hours of time, Growth Limited and the customer agree to change an aspect of the project and increase the estimate of labor hour by 50 hours. Now they are saying that the hours, number of hours required by how much more hour? 50 hours. And the rate for this hour is what? 100 per hour. Means 50 hour will be paid as per 100 per hour. Initially it was 150 per hour. Correct? Determine how contract modification will be accounted as per Ind AS 115. The first question. Does the modification add distinct goods and services? No. No. Again no. There is no additional goods and services. Understood? अरे ये नो नहीं सॉरी अच्छा दिस इज द क्वेश्चन चलो ठीक है I have given question of this both are same but you will understand I'm asking this question. Does the modification affect transaction price? Yes. Yes. Correct. Does the modification add distinct goods or services? No. So what is the answer? Account for modification as if it were a part of, as it if it were part of existing contract, that is adjustment to revenue is made on cumulative catch-up basis. Means what will do? Correct. But initially how many hour? 200 hour. Per hour rate 150. So 30,000 it is. Then we'll add how many hour? 50. Based on what? 100. This is what? 5,000. Total is what? 250. Total is what? 35,000. So 35,000 divided by 240 is how much? How much? 140. So 140 per hour is on an average basis. Correct? Now, since 100 hours service has been done, so right now we'll do in our future steps, we recognize based on number of hours also. Revenue can be recognized based on number of hours. So can I, since 100 hours completed, we can recognize revenue based on 100 hours. So initially can I say, we have already recognized 100 into 150, 15,000 revenue is already recognized. 15,000 revenue is already recognized. But now, how much revenue we should recognize? 140 per hour. So we'll say we need to recognize 140 means 14,000 we should recognize. Means how much more we have recognized. So it means we'll decrease the revenue by how much? 1,000 we should decrease. Means we'll do adjustment to revenue on a cumulative catch-up basis. Means cumulative accounting will do. On that basis, we'll do adjustment. So we'll decrease the revenue what is already recognized by 1,000. So we'll reverse the revenue journal entry. We reverse the revenue journal entry. Understood this point? Correct? Doubt? Huh? Yes, na. Affecting the transaction price, na. It is affecting the transaction price. Huh. Huh. No, no, no. Transaction price is affected. We are not saying that this will change. But their overall pricing to change. Na. They should charge how much? 50 into 150 only. Due to this one transaction price per hour has been changed or not? Transaction price per hour has been changed or not? It has been changed. Correct now? Understood? So what is the question? Does the modification affect transaction price? So now the modification is done at what? 50 into 100. So it will affect transaction price. If it would have been done 50 into what? 150, then transaction price will remain unaffected. Understood? Correct? So transaction price is affected, but it does not add any goods and services. So answer is no. So same accounting treatment is there. Same accounting treatment is there. Correct? Understood? But doubt क्या है? Considering the remaining goods are not using them. Yeah, correct. 1 minute. Does the modification affect transaction price? What I have said? I have said yes or no? I have said yes or no? Yes, it will affect. Yes. Then are the remaining goods and service distinct? No. Acha, this is the case. Correct. I was saying wrong. ठीक है ना? Means yes, transaction price is affected. Transaction price is affected. Correct? Then we'll ask, are the remaining goods and service distinct? No. Remaining goods and service are not distinct. Same work is there na. So the remaining goods and services are not distinct. Same goods and services are there. Therefore, account on cumulative catch-up basis. Correct? Understood? Okay. Don't be confused. 1 second. I will repeat 1 second. Okay. First question. Because one question is pakka from this. There are 6 illustrations in what? SM based on this. I am doing only one illustration. We have to read 6 illustrations in SM. So one question I am expecting from this now. 1 second. First question is what? Does the modification affect transaction price? No. I am saying no. No. Then what will ask? Does the modification add distinct goods and services? Yes. Yes. Correct. Then what? Does the consideration increase by standalone price of added goods? Yes. Then what will do? Account for the modification as a separate contract. This you understood? First point you understood? Second. Does the modification affect transaction price? Yes. Are the remaining goods and service distinct? No. Remaining goods and service are not distinct. So account for modification as if it were a part of existing contract. That only we have done. And revenue will be adjusted on a cumulative catch-up basis. What is the keyword? Revenue will be adjusted on cumulative catch-up basis. This is the keyword. Correct? Understood? So we have done example for this. This I am expecting. Okay. Now third case. Third case. Does the modification affect transaction price? Yes. Hello. 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 What I'm saying. So no. Does the modification affect transaction price? Yes. Are the remaining goods and service distinct? Yes. Now yes. Now yes. So this is the answer. Understood? What is the first question? Does the modification affect transaction price? Yes. Are the remaining goods and services distinct? Yes. Now I am saying yes. I am going to third case. Yes. Okay. So what is they saying? Allocate the remaining transaction price. Allocate the remaining transaction price not yet recognized on prospective basis. Allocate the remaining transaction price not yet recognized on which basis? Prospective basis. In other words, it will be treated as termination of original contract and creation of new contract. Creation of new contract. Understood? What is the third situation? Batao. Does the modification affect transaction price? Yes. Are the remaining goods and services distinct? Yes. So what is the answer? Ki allocate the remaining transaction price on prospective basis. It means it will result in what? It will result in what? Batao? Termination of original contract and creation of, means original contract will be closed and whatever modified contract will be recognized for the remaining transaction price on prospective basis. On prospective basis. 3 cases we have done. Can you repeat with me for the first one? Does the transaction price, does the modification affect transaction price? But no. First we have done no. Then what question we have asked? Bolo. Does the modification add what? Distinct goods and services? Yes. Then what we have asked? Bolo. Bolo. Does the consideration is increased by standalone price of added goods and services? Then what will do? modification will be accounted as a separate contract. This point you understood? Second case, what we have done. Does the modification affect transaction price? Yes. Then question what we have asked. Does the remaining goods are distinct? No. So what will do? What will do? On a cumulative catch-up basis. On a cumulative catch-up basis. Correct. Then third question is what? Does the modification affect transaction price? Yes. Does the remaining goods and services are distinct? Yes. Then what? It is a termination of original contract and creation of new contract. It means allocate the remaining transaction price on prospective basis. Recognize the remaining transaction price on prospective basis. 3 cases we have done, but there are 2 more cases. Have you understood this much? Bolo. This much you understood? Then one more. Now we'll go like this. This is one more case. Does the modification affect transaction price? No. No. Does the modification add distinct goods and services? If the answer is no. Understood? There is no additional goods and services. It is not increased by additional goods and services. Then also account for modification as if it were part of original contract only, that is adjustment to revenue will be done on cumulative catch-up basis. Correct? This is one more case. Then last case. This is the last case. This is the last case. Okay. First question, does the modification affect transaction price? No. Does the modification add distinct goods and services? Yes. Does the consideration increase by standalone selling price of added goods and services? No. Means it is not increased by standalone price of added goods and services. Then this will be also what? This way, it will be termination of what? Original contract and creation of new contract. Correct? If you have understood, if you will do that 6 question, you will be able to understand what I am saying. Correct? Understood? But do it. One question I am expecting. I am expecting question number 103. I am expecting question number 103. Therefore, I have done in detail. Okay? Now, coming to step number 2. So, what was the step number 1? Identify the contract with customer. If it is done, 5 criteria satisfied, then we'll move towards step number 2. What is step number 2? Identify the performance obligation in the contract. In a contract, there can be what? One or multiple performance obligation. So we need to identify how many performance obligations are there. We need to understand what is the meaning of performance obligation. The performance obligation is a promise. In a contract, there is a promise now. Promise. In a contract with a customer, to transfer to the customer either a goods or services or bundle of goods or services that are distinct. Either one goods and services, a bundle of goods and services that are distinct. Means either one mobile or this 100 mobile. Correct now? That are distinct from other. That are distinct from other. A goods or services, bundle of goods or services that is distinct. Correct? Or a series of distinct goods or services. A series of distinct goods or services that are substantially the same, and that have same pattern of transfer to the customer. A series of distinct goods and services. For example, if you take my example, I am teaching you different chapter. So every day I am teaching some different chapter. Means every day I am providing different services. Now, it's not same services if you think. So I am teaching you different lesson now. I am not teaching first day what Ind AS 2, then Ind AS 2, then Ind AS 2. So that is the same. So can I say this is distinct goods or services? Distinct goods or services. that are substantially the same, but same FR, that are substantially the same, understood? That are substantially the same FR, correct? That have same pattern of transfer to the customer every day, 7 to 12, then 3 to 9. Same pattern of transfer I am doing. Therefore, this is also one performance obligation. This is one performance obligation. Are you able to understand what I am saying? Ki this is, even though it has different services, but this will be considered as one performance obligation. Not understood. What I am saying, a promise, a performance obligation is a promise in the contract. So we need to identify how much promise are there. How much promise are there? So if I am saying I will teach FR, this is one promise कि if there are 10 chapter की 10 promise, ये doubt आया ना? Means I am charging fees FR wise, subject wise कि chapter wise. Even though I am charging chapter wise, this will be one performance obligation. Performance obligation. Are you getting? I can charge hourly basis 1 hour 10 rupees. आ जाओ मजा आ रहा है. Correct ना? Are you getting what I am saying? But then also we need to understand it is one performance obligation ki multiple performance obligation. So whenever there is what? A promise in the contract with customer to transfer goods and service to customer that are either are goods or services or distinct goods of services that are distinct. Now one question may arise, sir, when it will be, when we'll understand that are distinct? So for that also guidance has been given, correct? Or a series of distinct goods of services. So in my case, it is a series of what? Distinct goods or services only. Distinct services. Every day I am performing differently. Every day I am performing differently. I am not teaching same lesson to you. I am teaching different to you. Correct now? So it is a series of different services that are substantially the same. Yes, F for 100 marks. Correct? And the pattern of transfer to the customer is also same. Every day, same pattern, in the same pattern I am transferring. Morning 7 to 12. Then 3 to 9. The pattern of transfer also remains same. Therefore, even though I am providing different concept, it will be one a performance obligation. It will be one a performance obligation. Have you understood now? So what is performance obligation? You have to identify in a contract how many performance obligation are there. Suppose I said I will teach FR and GFRS. So there are two performance obligation. There are two performance obligation in one contract. Of course, now FR and GFRS two set of performance obligation, correct? If I will say Ind AS 103, Ind AS 110, Ind AS 102. So these are series of chapters that are substantially a part of one subject. Therefore, it is one performance obligation. One performance obligation. Understood? Yes, sir. Criteria for identifying a performance obligation. Correct? Means always we need to identify performance obligation on inception of contract. Once the contract is there, on inception of contract, we'll identify the performance obligation. At contract inception, entity shall assess the goods or service promised in the contract with the customer and shall identify performance obligation under each promise to be transferred to the customer. Correct? Understood? Means, can I say, at each contract inception, entity shall assess the goods or services promised in the contract. Means how many goods and services are promised in the contract, that they need to identify, and shall identify performance obligation for each promise. Shall identify the performance obligation for each promise to be transferred to the customer. Correct? Understood? Promise under the contract can be either explicit or it can be implicit. Either it can be explicit or implicit. For example, just try to understand. I announce one batch in FR website, my website. Correct now? Understood? FR subject 70 days class, fees is 9,000 I have announced. Under website, down I have written one note. I also take 3 tests on completion of batch. That was written separately. On completion of batch, I take 3 effort tests. That was also written in my website. ठीक है ना? You came to me by observing the website only. Correct na? Now we have done one contract. I will teach FR. The fees is 9,000. You paid fee and we started teaching. The question is that this 9,000 is only for FR. This also include when you have given me the fees now. So in the invoice, nothing is written about test. Means I have not written anything else. I said FR 70 days 9,000. Correct now? Understood now? Now the question arises: this contract include only FR performance obligation? Ki I need to also conduct 3 tests. I need to also conduct what? Yes or no? So that is implicit from what my announcement in the website. So it means the performance obligation can be either explicit in the contract or it can be implicit in the contract. So all the performance obligation, whether it is explicitly stated or not explicitly stated, should be identified. Means 1,000 should be allocated not only to FR subject, should be also allocated to 3 tests which I will conduct in future. Understood this point? Correct. Yes, correct. Means if it is explicit, so it can be either based on customary business practice, or it can be due to published policy or specific statement, or due to specific statement. Understood? Yes, sir. Understood. Now, sir, what is the meaning of distinct performance obligation? You said performance obligation, goods and service must be distinct. So, what is the meaning of distinct goods and services? Correct now? That we need to understand. So, a goods and services that is promised to a customer is distinct if both of the following criteria are satisfied. If both means there are 2 criteria. If both the criteria are satisfied, first, customer can benefit either alone or with other readily available resources from that goods and services. Means customer can benefit from that goods and services either alone or with other readily available goods and services. For example, I purchase one mobile. Just try to understand. I purchase one mobile. Understood? Correct? In this mobile, the charger was also given. Charger means I purchase mobile with charger. Now question arises whether this mobile and charger are distinct goods and services कि same goods and services. Doubt तो आया ना बोलना रे. It is same only because you understand without charger how can we use? Same thing they are written. Whether can I use this mobile without charger? Can I use Can I use charger without mobile? It means what? They are not distinct, they are same. They are not distinct, they are same. Are you able to understand what I am saying? Are bolna re. Yes, bol diya. Understood? Now saying another example. Suppose कि I purchase one laptop. And with laptop I got one Tally software free. It was actually not free, but bola free hai. Correct now? Or sometime you see now, they will say now, you purchase laptop and you will get Tally software at 50% of price. Correct? Means in one contract, suppose I purchase laptop with Tally software. Correct now? Whether they are same or distinct, batao. Same or distinct? Distinct, because that Tally software does not require that laptop. I can use in my office laptop also. That might be a personal computer for me. Bolna yes or no? Bolna. So that are distinct goods and services. So it means first you need to say whether customer can benefit either alone. Means from Tally software I can benefit alone or from other readily available resources in the market. Means Tally software can be used in other laptop. But for this charger, I will not purchase another mobile now. Understood what I am saying? If I got charger, yes sir, I can use by in my other mobile. But just try to understand this charger is for this goods only. So this is same goods and services. Understood what I am saying? The first condition, first point you understood. The first point is what? एक बार repeat करो. The customer can benefit either alone or with other readily available resources. Then this bullet you can read by your own. Then what? Point number two, which is more important. Which is more important? कि it must be separately identifiable from other promises in the contract. It must be separately identifiable from other promises in the contract. Understood? From other promises in the contract. ठीक है? Understood? ठीक है? Means just try to understand. I have given you example of tele software. I will give you example of some other software. I purchase one laptop. I purchase means I'm not talking from purchase point of view. You think from sale point of view, huh? Sale point of view, not from purchase point of view. But I have purchased, so you are vendor. You should think कि sir क्या करना है, ठीक है ना? I purchase from you now, so you are seller, so you need to recognize revenue. For me, तो what? Ind AS 16 will be applicable, Ind AS 2 because either it will be inventory or PP for me, correct? So from your point of view, I purchase laptop from you with inbuilt operating system. बताओ, same or different? Same or different? Now you can understand, you can feel it. You can feel it, same or distinct. But if it is distinct, it becomes two performance obligation. If it is same, it is one performance obligation. You are able to understand what I am saying? Are you able to understand? So that you need to find out. In one contract, two performance obligation, ki one performance obligation. Correct? So second point, what they have said, it must be separately identifiable from other promise in the contract. Sir, how will identify it is separately identifiable? So you need to understand. Just read this in other words. Two or more promise to transfer goods and services are not separately identifiable. Means they are same. Are not separately identifiable. Means they are same from other goods and services in the contract if entity provides significant integration services. If entity provides significant integration activities. For example, suppose कि you are constructing a building for me. You are constructing one building for me with what? With a garden. With a garden. Correct now? Ab garden is separate construction, building is separate construction, but without garden will I purchase? So these are integrated activities. Integrated. These are integrated. Now, are you getting what I am saying? Integrated. Ki by building with garden, so I will not purchase. Means these are two integrated activities. Are you getting? So if the entity provides significant integrated activities, means which are related to each other, For example, I have booked one apartment, correct now, and they have promised me that in that apartment gym will be there, swimming pool will uske bina kaise lenge, swimming pool will be there, clubhouse will be there, and other amenities will be there. Correct now? But all are different promise ki same promise? Integrated activities na. So if they are selling me what? One apartment, so will I purchase without these amenities? I will not purchase without these amenities. Of course, they will charge for me for that amenities also. So whether it is one performance obligation, ki different performance obligation. These all are integrated activities. Integrated activities. Therefore, these are what? One performance obligation. Are you able to understand what I am saying? हाँ बड़ा this Ind AS 115 is very technical. I can't speed up. If I'll speed up, you can only read. If I'll say, if the entity provides, so what do you will understand? Means how many days I take in regular class? What do you think? Huh? 10 days? 10 hours you are saying? I take 15 hours for this. Yeah, 15 hours. Now, if one or more of the goods, just try to understand. Second what? If one or more of the goods or service simply modifies or customize other promised goods or services in the contract, means one goods or services modifies or customize other goods and services, then they are one a performance obligation. Of course, now they help in the modification or customization. Custom, for example, I have given operating software. The operating software customize the laptop. Without it, how can we use? So it means it is one performance obligation. One performance obligation, correct? If the goods and services are highly interdependent or highly interrelated, means both goods and services are interrelated and interdependent. Interrelated and interdependent. So both are what? Performance, one performance obligation, correct? Understood? Okay. Have you understood this point? So if these three conditions satisfied, so it will be one performance obligation. If any one of the conditions not satisfied, so it will be what? Different. Means now read the prior part. Factor that indicate that entities promise to transfer a goods and services to a customer is separately include, but are not limited to the following. Significant integration service is not provided. Means if significant integration service not provided, so they are what? Different performance obligation. No significant modification or customization, then they have a different performance obligation. Not highly interrelated and interdependent, they have a different performance obligation. So I think one question from this also. So come to question number 88. Question number 88. An entity provides broadband services to its customer along with voice call services. Along with call, तो broadband voice call, ठीक है? Customer buy modem from entity. Customer buy modem also. Modem from entity. Three, there are three: voice call, broadband service, and modem. Correct? However, customer can get a connection from other entity and modem from other vendor. Means, can I say this point they are saying that customer can benefit either alone or with the readily available resources in the market. Correct? Yes, sir. The installation activity requires limited effort and the cost involved is also insignificant. But installation is very insignificant, so it is not a part of performance obligation. It has various plan whether it provide either broadband service or voice call service or both. Other performance obligation under contract distinct, whether they are distinct performance obligation कि one performance obligation. They are distinct or one. पहले बताओ. Can I say these all three customer can benefit either alone. I can take broadband service a modem from other party. Correct. Now, or from readily available source. These are not one. First condition is satisfied. Whether they are providing any customization services, modification services, broadband is providing any modification, customization, no. They are not providing. Whether they are integrated, they are not integrated, they are separate, separately can be used. Whether they are highly interrelated, interdependent, no, they are not highly interrelated. They are what? Three different performance obligation. Broadband is one performance obligation. Call service, voice call is one performance obligation, and sale of modem will be one performance obligation. There are three performance obligation. Understood? But if you are not writing this, they will not give marks. You are writing there are three performance obligation, whether they will give marks and now they will give. Correct? So it means you need to retain this point also. Yes, sir, will retain. Correct? Understood? Yes. Then this point I will do at the end. Okay. Long-term arrangement. Long-term arrangement. such as maintenance services or accounting work, etc. Suppose I have done one contract with you that I will provide you accounting work for 5 years. Correct? Understood? So 5 year contract I have done. I will provide AMC for 5 years. So long term arrangement I have done. So it is one performance obligation ki distinct performance obligation. Understood? Doubt hai na? 5 years there is. So what they are saying, whether the contract can be renewed or can be cancelled or can be modified. Bola, if it can be renewed or modified, so it will be multiple performance obligation. If it cannot be cancelled, 5 year AMC given without any cancellation right, without any modification right, without any renewal right, then it will be one performance obligation. One performance obligation. So long term arrangement very simple. If it can be cancelled, modified, renewed, then it will be multiple performance obligation. If it will what cannot be cancelled, then it will be what one performance obligation. Understood? Step number 3. Determine the transaction price. This is very important because without transaction price, how can we recognize the revenue? So we need to find out transaction price. So what they are saying, transaction price can be fixed or variable also. Now fixed, so there is no difficulty. For example, in my case 9,000, no difficulty transaction price 9,000. Chalo, theek hai. Step over. But if it includes some variable consideration, then we need to estimate variable consideration. Means till now we were only estimating expense. For the first time, India's 115 says that we need to also estimate what? Revenue. We need to also estimate what? Revenue. So if it includes some variable consideration which depend upon some contingencies, etc. So we need to estimate it right now. Understand what I am saying? If the transaction price is fixed, then so this step is over. But if transaction price includes some variable element, then we need to understand how to estimate variable consideration. Understood what I am saying? So what is the meaning of transaction price? Transaction price is the amount of consideration to which the entity expected to be entitled in exchange for transferring promised goods or services to a customer, excluding any amount collected on behalf of third party. Means they have clearly mentioned that GST you are recovering for government, so GST is not a part of transaction price. Kitna acha definition, very good definition they have given. Correct? Are you getting what I am saying? Whatever amount you are collecting on behalf of third party, that is not included in the transaction price. That only we do. We do that only. Not new point. But AS9 was silent regarding that. Everything was silent. They have clearly mentioned it. It will not include any amount collected on behalf of third party. Correct? Yes, sir. Now, while determining transaction price, entities shall consider 4 factors. Means if it is not, then no doubt, then to ho gaya, over. But if it includes this factor, variable consideration, significant financing component, late payment, so of course it will include some interest element. Correct now? Non-cash consideration, if suppose I am receiving consideration in the form of non-monetary item, the non-cash consideration and consideration payable to customer. Sometimes what happens, a contract is designed in such a way that some amount is payable to customer also. So what we will do about that? What is that amount? Consideration payable to customer. So these 4 factors we need to understand. Variable consideration, significant financing component, and what? Non-cash consideration and consideration payable to the customer. Variable consideration, I think you have understood what I want to say. Variable consideration will include this weight in future. Correct now? That is variable. Right now we don't know. Right now we don't know. Bolna re, transaction price 9,000, but if you pay on early, I will give a 5% discount. That is variable. Whether that discount will be availed or not availed, we don't know. Correct. That is what variable na. Are bolna re. It is variable. So if the consideration promise in the contract includes variable amount, an entity shall estimate the amount of consideration. So now we need to estimate whether the customer will avail the discount or not. If avail, so how many customer will avail? That estimation is required. Correct. Example, discount, rebate, refund, credit, price concession, incentive, performance bonus or other item. For example, suppose we have made one contract and the contract is designed in such a way that after batch, if you feel that my performance was very good, you'll pay me. Correct na? We have mutually decided, right? My performance is very good, so you'll pay me what 10 rupees per hour, whatever I have taught. Correct na? We can design a, but if you will satisfy that my performance is good, then only I will receive. Otherwise, I will not receive. Or I can design in such way. If you score what 90 plus marks, you will pay me additional amount. We can design or not. Correct na? Mutually we can decide na. अरे बोलना रे. If you decide, तो can I say it include variable consideration. Means I am receiving for this batch only na. But I will receive some consideration on your passing the exam if you score 90 plus marks. Correct. So we need to estimate it ki how many students can get that much marks and whether they'll give or not. That is also one estimation. How many of you will come and give the amount? So that estimation is required. That estimation is required. Correct? Yes, sir. So variable consideration can be either explicitly stated in the contract or it can arise from the valid expectation from the entity's customary business practice or any other activities which create a valid expectation on the minds of our customer. Understood what I am saying? Means it can be implicit also. Implicit means suppose I have announced one batch and I said what? I said in this way, in the while announcing I said if anyone pass announcement, not at a time of contract, announcement I have done if anyone pass in the first attempt full fees refund. ऐसा होता है ना? You have seen some advertisement. If you are not satisfied, full fees refund. Means you need to pay first in advance, not satisfied, full fee refund. I have seen that type of also pamphlet. Hmm? Star mark is also there. A star mark is also there. No, but star mark also we can full the terms and condition. Na. But variable or not? It is variable. Correct. So it can be implicit also. It can be explicit also. Correct? Yes, sir. Correct. Estimating the amount of variable consideration, it is similar to what we have done under Ind AS 37. In AS 37, we have done that if the entity has large number of contract, means large population with similar characteristics, that we have done, then variable consideration will be expected value which is equal to the weighted average of all possible outcome. There also we have done same thing. Weighted average of all possible outcome. Don't worry, in exam they will give possible outcome. You are expert in weighted average, apply that. Correct. There is a contract. If the contract has only two possible outcome, then most likely outcome will be taken as what? Variable consideration. Most likely outcome will be taken as variable consideration. Are you able to understand what I have said? Correct? Yes, sir. Okay. Understood? We have one question on this. So this also I am expecting a question on this. Correct? Question number 105. Very good question. With this question only you will understand the entire part. An entity has a fixed fee contract of 1 million to develop a product that meets specified performance criteria. So what is the fixed consideration? 1 million. Correct? Estimated cost to complete the contract. Estimated cost to complete the contract is rupees 9,50,000. Is rupees 9,50,000. The entity will transfer contract of the product over a 5 year and the entity use cost to cost input method to measure progress on the contract. Cost to cost is step number 5 we'll discuss, but if you have done in AS7, you can understand the solution. AS7 you know na? So I will do, even though it is required information of step number 4 and step number 5. Correct now? But you will understand whatever I will do. Okay? An incentive award is available if the product meet the following weight criteria. Following weight criteria. Variable consideration is there. Weight 951 weight. Award percentage fixed fee. अरे इसमें लिखो 951 951 और greater. Shift हो गया. Greater should come in front of 951. Then award percentage 0%. Incentive fees is nil. ठीक है ना? Change the question. The weight is 951 or greater. Award percentage of fixed fee is 0%. मतलब 0% and incentive fee is 0. ठीक है? Then if the weight criteria is 701 to 950, then award percent is 10%. So 10% of 1 million is what? 1 lakh. So incentive fee is 1 lakh. Okay. If the weight criteria is 700 less, means we achieve this criteria, then award fee is 25%. So 25% of 1 million is 2,50,000. So this much bonus will be given, this much reward will be given. Correct? The entity has an extensive experience creating product that meet the specific performance criteria. So they have vast experience on this. Correct? Based on his experience, the entity has identified 5 engineering alternatives that will achieve the 10% incentive and 2 that will achieve 25% incentive. Correct? Means they have, based on his experience, entity has identified 5 engineering alternative. They might achieve 10% criteria, means 10% award criteria, and 2 that will achieve what? 25% award criteria. In this case, the entity determined that 95% confidence that it will achieve 10% incentive and 20% confidence that it will achieve 25% incentive. So we can work out weighted average possible. Bolo. Correct na? But there are 2 possible outcome. What is the 2 possible outcome? 95% is 10% and 20% chance is 25%, which is most likely to occur. 95%. Therefore, we'll estimate 10%. Therefore, we'll add how much? 1 lakh in the transaction price. Means initial transaction price will be 10 lakh plus what? 1 lakh. But this can change also, because this is long-term project. Our whatever assessment we have done, that might change. So what they have said. Based on this analysis, the entity believed that 10% to be the most likely amount. This is a part of, not question, this is a part of answer. Estimating the transaction price. Therefore, entity include only 10% award. This para I am not reading. After that, the entity reassesses its production status quarterly to determine whether it is on track to meet the criteria for the incentive. At the end of year 4, means at year end 4, it become apparent that this contract will be fully achieve the weight based criteria. Therefore, the entity receive its estimate of variable consideration to include entire 25% incentive fee in the year 4. Because at this point it is probable that significant reversal, this is not important, means at the end of the 4, can I say it will become 10 lakh plus what? 2,50,000. So there is a reassessment in the estimation. There is a reassessment in the estimation. Have you understood? So how to recognize the revenue, we need to understand. Evaluate the impact changes in the variable consideration when the cost incurred are as follow. So they have given year 1 this cost, year 2 this cost. This is the question. Let us come to the answer. What will be the answer? Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So बताओ, what is the transaction price? Year 1 11 lakh, year 2 11 lakh, year 3 11 lakh, But year for what? 12 lakh 50,000 and 12 lakh 50,000. Understood? ठीक है. And what is the estimated cost to complete the project? That is 9 lakh 50,000 every year. 9 lakh 50,000 every. This is total estimated cost. I'm writing 9 lakh 50,000. So there is no changes in estimated cost. However, it might also change. It might also change. Now, what is the actual cost? Actual cost is 50,000. Can you give me cumulative? 50. Then 50 plus 1 lakh 70, how much? 12, 2 lakh 25,000. Then 2 lakh 25 plus 4, 6 lakh 25,000. Then 6 lakh 25 plus 2 lakh 75, 9 lakh, 9 lakh. And then it become 9 lakh 50,000. So it matches with the total estimation. Okay. Now we'll find out percentage of work completed by cost to cost method. They have said now cost to cost method. Use cost to cost method. This will be done in step number 5. We will find out percentage of work performed by using cost to cost method. So 50,000 divided by 9 lakh 50 into 100. How much work has been completed? 5.50 by 9 lakh 50. 5.26%. Correct? Understood? Then 2 lakh 25 divided by 9 lakh 50. 23.68%. Then 6 lakh 25 divided by 9 lakh 50. 67.9. Then 9 lakh divided by 9 lakh 50. 94.74. Then 100%. Then 100%. Correct? Understood? So this is the cumulative percentage of work performed. Cumulative percentage of work performed. Correct? Understood? Correct. Now can we say that 5.26% work performed, so 11 lakh into 5.26%, that much revenue will be recognized. So how much revenue recognized? बताओ. 57 850 862. ठीक है. ठीक है. Then बताओ 23.68% of 11 lakh, 2 lakh 62 60480. Then 65.79% of 11 lakh, 7 lakh 23. Someone is saying 7, someone is saying 6. बताओ किसका सुनो? 690. ठीक है. Then 94.7% of 12 lakh 50. 12 lakh 50 how much? 11 lakh 84,000. 220. 250. Then last is 12 lakh 50,000. But this is cumulative revenue recognized. So we need to find out revenue recognized for each year, year wise. So it is 57,860. This minus this, this minus this, this minus this, this minus this. From that you will deduct contract cost. Contract cost you will deduct. So you will get what? Profit. You will get profit. Understood? This is the way to find out contract revenue. So actually I was only discussing variable consideration, but I have done one full-fledged question with assessment of variable consideration. With assessment of variable consideration. Correct? Understood? This question also I am expecting in exam. Understood? Very simple. Simple, right? A same to same question will come. So you can score or not. You can't score. Huh? You can't score. Only if provided you are not doing calculation mistake. Chalo, this also you have understood. Now, significant financing component. Variable consideration you understood? Now, significant financing component. Now, in this, I will not say much because you understood financing component present value. Means whenever there is a significant financing component, we need to find out present value of transaction price. And that will be what? That will be transaction price. Correct now. So in determining the transaction price, the entity shall adjust the promised amount of consideration for the effect of time value of money. For the effect of time value of money. Correct? Understood? So a significant financing component may exist regardless of whether the promise of financing is explicitly stated or implied by the payment term agreed by the party to the contract. Means the interest might be explicitly stated in the contract or it might be what implied as per the payment terms. As per the payment terms. Understood? Means normally whenever the credit is given more than normal credit period, always it will be what? Having significant financing component. Means from the question you will be able to understand whether there is a financing component or not. Correct? Understood? Okay. Now for discount rate what they have said, the discount rate should be incremental borrowing rate. Incremental borrowing rate or it can be interest rate implicit in transaction. Interest rate implicit in transaction means what? You need to find out IRR, effective interest rate. Effective interest rate. For example, if normal purchase price, normal sale price is 1 lakh, but you have given a credit of 2 year. You have given a credit of 2 year and you are charging what? 1,50,000. So can't you calculate interest rate? You can calculate interest rate. So that is what interest rate implicit in the transaction. Understood this point? Yes. But this para is important. What they are saying? Overriding the provision of significant financing component. Well, sometime even though we are charging less or more, correct now, but it will not include any significant financing component. Correct? If following factor exists, if following factor exists, means a contract with customer would not have any significant financing component if the following factor exists. If the following factor exists, for example, customer paid in advance. Now I have received advance from you. Suppose this is 1 year batch. So I have received right now. Now this is the business custom only to receive in advance. So whether this my price will include any interest element? Bola no. For this reason will not eliminate interest from this. Correct? So the customer paid in advance and timing of transfer of those goods and service is at the discretion of customer. You are paying by your choice. Correct? So normally this is as per the custom of trade only. Understood? Okay. A substantial amount of consideration is variable. Now sometime whatever, suppose we have decided that price means in our case consideration will be based on what? Your marks. Based on your marks. If you get 60 marks, fees is 6,000. If you get 90% marks, fees is 9,000. Correct now. And right now you pay me 1,000 balance, you pay me what at the time of result? बना लेते हैं ना. Correct now. Understood? So can I say yes, substantial amount is variable only. And that is depending upon what? Your performance. So even though late payment is there, it will not include what? Any significant financing component. It will not include any significant component. Point number C. The difference between promised consideration and cash selling price are for reason other than provision of finance. other than provision of finance. Correct? Means there might be sometime difference due to some other reason. Due to some other reason. Means if it is due to some other reason, will not include what provision for finance. For example, payment terms might provide the entity or customer with a protection from other party failing to complete some or all other performance obligation. Correct? Understood. For example, my fees is 9,000. We have designed a contract, sir. We'll pay you right now 4,000 only. When we pass, we'll pay 5,000. So, Ganesh, you want to protect yourself against my performance? If I teach good to you, will pass. If I'm not teaching good to you, will not pass. So, to protect yourself, we have designed such contract. So, Ganesh, the late payment is due to some other reason. So if the late payment is due to some other reason, so it will not include what provision for interest element, correct? So this might be a question of this nature. So you need to find, you need to say that no time value money is involved here. So therefore no discounting will be done, correct? Yes, sir. Now there are some questions you can understand by your own because time value of money you know. So I'm not going into that part. Okay? Understood? Non-cash consideration. This is also very simple. Whenever transaction price includes some non-cash consideration, so how to recognize transaction, how to determine transaction price. So to determine transaction price for the contract, the non-cash consideration shall be measured at fair value. But which fair value? Fair value of asset given up ki fair value of asset received? Are you getting? What do you think? Fair value of asset given up ki fair value of asset received? What should be taken? Fair value of asset given up ki fair value of asset received? Huh? Given up ki asset received? No, no, no. That was when you are paying. This time you are receiving. Consideration is always received, Ray. So what asset you receive, that is consideration. So you will take first preference will be given to what? Fair value of non-cash consideration received. If it is not clearly evident or not determinable, then we'll take fair value of asset given up. Same thing, opposite of that. That time do you purchase. PP mein you are purchasing PP, you are paying consideration. Therefore it will be equal to fair value of consideration given up. यहाँ पे it will be equal to fair value of consideration received. Understood? So that is written. If the fair value of non-cash consideration cannot be reasonably estimated, it shall be measured the consideration by reference to standalone selling price of goods and services promised. Promise means given up. Given up. Means in this thought, if the fair value of non-cash consideration received cannot be. Me first preference will be given to what? Fair value of non-cash consideration received. If it cannot be clearly reliably measurable, then we'll take what? Fair value of goods and services which are promised to be transferred. Means given up. Given up. Understood? This you can, the balance part you can read. Consideration payable to customer. Consideration payable to customer. Now question arises, if you have sold goods, so whether there is a chances that whether consideration is payable to customer, one thing might happen, कि in that contract you have purchased something from customer. It is quite possible. You have purchased something from customer. So that is a separate transaction, sale is separate or purchase is separate. Correct. Or it might happen some consideration is payable as a refund. For example, sometime what happen if you drink some cold drink or any type of drink, so when you open the lid, वहाँ पर लिखा रहता है 10 rupees. So you go to vendor, it happens sometime. How many have you done like open and 10 rupees मजा आया दे? You have received some consideration from vendor, some yes ना रहे. Yes. It might have been 0, you are unlucky. But sometime 1 rupees, 2 rupees. came. So we go to the vendor, they give what? They give the amount. That is consideration payable to what? Customer. Are you getting what I am saying? So that might be also case. What I am saying? Consideration payable to customer include cash amount that the entity pays or expect to pay to the customer. Correct? Consideration payable to customer also include credit or other item that can other item be coupon, voucher, etc. that can be applied against amount owed to the entity. Means whatever amount is receivable that can be adjusted with payable. Correct? So in this case, what we'll do? So we'll ask one question. Is the consideration payable to customer a payment for distinct goods or services purchased from customer? If the answer is no, if the answer is no, amount of consideration, amount for consideration, sorry, account for consideration as a reduction of transaction price. Means that amount will be reduced from what? Transaction price. Understood? Simple. Correct? Then, if the answer is yes, does the consideration exceed the fair value of distinct goods and services purchased from customer? Means suppose consideration payable is 100, but the fair value of goods and services purchased from customer is 80. 80. So there is some excess amount is payable. So what they are saying? The excess amount, account for the excess as transaction price. Yes. So any excess amount will be reduced from transaction amount and write down balance amount will be considered as, means it will be accounted for purchase of goods and services in the same way as the entity account for other purchase from other entity. Means it will be recorded as purchase transaction. Purchase transaction. Correct now? In this also the same will come. Have you understood? Balance amount. Correct? Chalo. We have done step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, 4. So step number 3. Correct? Understood? I think you are able to absorb what actually I am saying. Correct now? You will understand this only when we will do some questions. But if I will do so much question, it will take much time. And whatever questions are given in ICM, it is very super easy and super clear. Means once you do that now, you will automatically understand entire NDS 115. So I am just giving the concept. Just go through the entire question in a hurry way. And you will think that yes, I am understanding. But do immediately. After 10 days, you will forget whatever I have said. So once again, much time will be required. Correct now. We'll take break. After break, we start the balance part.